Um, so we're in Studio Venus. This is the first thing we shot in here. Um, there's some more stuff in the vlog that'll be about this new space and how we intend to use it and everything else. I thought I would have this in the place of a traditional conversation that I've had in the past, either alone or together, just as something like a little lighter and more fun, and maybe we'll get into some heavy stuff I don't really know, but we're going to do a questionnaire that Loralee kind of brought to the table. So
it's the Proust Questionnaire from Marcel Proust, from around the 1800s, I think, late 1800s. He was French, and they used to use it in a sort of parlor games to get to know each other better, so it goes quite in depth. So there's 35 questions, and they can either be short answers or long answers. We'll see what happens. So I'm going to ask the questions, and then we'll go back and forth. So John, what is your idea of perfect happiness?
Perfect happiness for me, the first word that I think of is freedom. I just feel like really unhappy when I'm restricted, I guess, from doing things I want to do. I think like freedom as an overall answer, because like I immediately find problems with it sometimes because of like having too much freedom is a thing where I think that maybe it gets too utopian to say that, but that's the only answer I could really think of that was like immediate. What came to my mind was freedom for an idea of perfect happiness.
Okay, for perfect happiness, mine are like little moments, so probably change even day to day. So I don't have like an overriding thing of perfect happiness. But it would be, like right off the bat thinking of it, I love sunshine and I love rain. So a day out in the sunshine all day with a picnic, good wine, hot sun, and then ending with some rain where y'all have to run to the car. What is your greatest fear?
I think death is the thing that I would mention right off the hop. Loneliness too, but like I can deal with that on a day-to-day basis better than death, obviously. So I think dying alone without anyone that I care about there, that would be the big one.
My greatest fear, in a way, is death too. Losing people that I love. So I really fear losing my mom. What is the trait you most deplore in yourself?
I get stuck here because there's like a lot. Yeah, I guess I'm trying to like narrow it down to like a sentence and like what is the trait? I don't know if it's impatience. That's a word that came to my mind really early. So like impatience and like inability to move on sometimes from a negative like event or experience.
Okay. I would probably say selfishness, even though I do feel that it's kind of caused by my mental illness. But if we have plans to go somewhere, then I end up I can't go. Or there's a lot of times, like in my family or whatever, and I'm sure they think they're selfish, like I basically have it's based on me, I guess. Mm-hmm. I don't know, so I kind of feel selfish because my actions end up affecting so many other people. And sloth, I kind of feel like sloth sometimes. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I don't know. That's the one that immediately came to my mind, is that I feel like I'm selfish lots of times. Even if I feel like it's out of my control, I still feel those feelings.
See, now when you say that, it like makes me want to change my answer almost, because I just thought of something else that I don't like at all. I was going to say lack of discipline, because that's something that's very much like that I struggle with, is a lack of discipline in certain areas, and that really bothers me. And that's something obviously I can work on, which actually makes it worse because I feel like that's way more in my control than the other thing, because sometimes the impatience and stuff like that has to do with anxiety, and I can obviously do things to help myself get over those things too, but lack of discipline I feel like is something that I have like it wasn't like nurtured into me. So it's something that I lack, and I've been very aware of for a long time, and yet I still haven't been making that mental shift to work on it as much as I should. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
What trait do you most deplore in others?
In others, who? Inefficiency was the first word that came to my mind. I guess a broader one that would encompass more things is being unprofessional, because to me, efficiency fits into that.
I'm going to do a double one on mine.
Yeah.
Because I don't like unkindness, and kind of paired with it is quick to anger. So people who are unkind or quick to anger.
And it's pretty related.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes me really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Those two traits, so not only do I deplore them, but what are yours? Or your one?
I think for now I just stick with
This
like the inefficiency
okay.
and like unprofessionalism, kind of like I want to be broader, but to me like unkindness isn't the thing that upsets me that much. Like I've often said, I'd rather deal with someone smart and rude than somebody who's just like really nice and doesn't know what they're talking about, or is whatever slowing me down in some way. So, which is funny that you say the quick to anger thing, because I'm like, well, why are we hanging out then? Like that's such like a thing that I
Well,
feel.
you know that I struggle with it.
Yeah, and I struggle with my anger. So, yeah. Next question.
All right. Which living person do you most admire?
That I most admire.
Yeah.
I feel like it's someone that I wouldn't want to use like someone that I didn't know enough. You know what I mean? But I don't know very many people closely. I feel like we should have a rule: we can't use each other for any questions, for any answers.
Okay.
Because like I'm tempted to say you.
Oh, that's really nice.
Well, because there's certain things that there's trade-offs in what I feel like I lack that you really have, that I would like, or that are an example, I guess, a good example. So.
Okay, that rule stands.
After I've already got.
Well, didn't you say you want to do that? So I'm like, yeah, okay.
Well, I don't.
Because I know.
But I don't even know the questions later on. Maybe I'm shooting myself in the foot by saying we shouldn't do that. I didn't even realize this till right now. Okay, yeah, so I wanted to avoid someone that was like, oh, this artist or this whatever, because like, yes, I can respect certain parts of maybe their work or their professional practice, but if I don't know them well enough, how do I like respect them as like a whole unit? So.
Well, I don't think it has to be like so serious too. It can be like.
That's how I'm interpreting.
Of course, of course.
So I just realized, like, I think I'm just like this small group of people that I've come to know enough. Because I mean, even people that might have inspired me to do this or do that in my life, that were strong figures, were removed enough from me that I never saw their dark parts or anything. So that's why, like, one thing that I was like, oh, well, like, yeah. But maybe it's also just because this is gonna be corny. That's okay. I think like at this moment, I would say Jordan, and maybe like I said, that's just on my mind because I just hung out with him last week. But as like an individual that I know enough about, I feel like, and maybe that's also me like, just like, what's the word? Not patting myself on the back, but just like, I can only think of that or like a really crude way to say it. Maybe it's like a very masturbatory comment because I find Jordan and I so much alike. So, but the thing is that here's those things, and it reminded me of it because I was saying there's things that you have that I like, I wish that I did, but Jordan seems like such a well-balanced individual in relation to me, where there's things about him that I'm like, this is why we have a certain connection, but then there's other parts that I'm like, those more obsessive or dark parts that I have or whatever, I feel like he doesn't have those, and that he's much more well balanced when it comes to things like having patience with others and like the way he expresses or doesn't express to others, and like his relationships. I think he has much healthier relationships with his friends and family and partners and professional work life and stuff than I do. And that's something that disrupts my life. So like that's, I mean, part of it is stuff that I don't know how much control we have over certain elements of like our.
Well, and it doesn't have to be that you want to be that person, just that you admire.
Yeah, and that is
what you're saying you admire.
Yeah, and I do, because like I'm just sometimes. I guess the other part of that was I was thinking before was like ignorance is bliss, and like how I would never want that. But like there's some people that I'm like, oh man, like for 1 second I admire the fact that they're so innocent in like their whatever, that they can go about their day and things don't bother them, but they also don't have the same quality of life that I think I get because of my understandings of certain things or how my brain happens to work and function.
Maybe they have a better quality of life because they're not worried about all that all the time.
Yeah, yeah, exactly though. Maybe they do, but it's not one that I would want.
Yeah.
Whereas with Jordan, because I feel like we're on a fairly level playing field with our quality of thought, that he still manages, because of his other traits and things he's worked on or whatever, to, one, have more discipline, I believe, than I do in a lot of ways, and like I said, still able to navigate life in a way that I think is more, I don't know how to, like I said, more balanced than I do. Like it just doesn't seem as affected negatively by things in the way that I am, and still yet he processes those things in a similar way. It's not because they go over his head, he doesn't even realize them, like he's aware of them and still is able to kind of navigate things. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna say Jordan.
Mine will maybe sound, I don't know, trite, but it's definitely my mom. She was a cancer survivor when she was 36 years old. She had 6 kids by the time she was 34 years old. My dad committed suicide when she was 36 or 37 years old. She had no insurance, she had no money, and somehow she always managed to make sure we were okay. She came off social assistance right away so that she could give a good example of us working and not being on that. And to this day, you know, she's one of those women, or one of those friends you could call and say, I just killed someone. She'd be like, I'll be right there, we'll bury the body. She's just like there for you no matter what. So yeah. I admire her very much, and I do try and emulate her as much as I can. All right. What is your greatest extravagance?
Whoa, I didn't see that one coming. My greatest extravagance, like, to me,
Stop.
What?
Go ahead.
No, what'd you say?
I just said period stop because you went, my greatest extravagance, and I was like, what is it?
I'm just, again, trying to unpack with that. Like, I should go, I'm generally trying to go with my initial reactions, and then sometimes on the question.
No, you're not.
Sometimes.
Which one?
Like the first two, I was like freedom, or like.
Well, you went freedom.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Joe.
Yeah.
So just try and let yourself go a little bit.
My initial reaction is guiding me, but yeah, I am trying to unpack it more. What was it again? How was it worded?
Greatest extravagance.
My greatest extravagance. Collecting physical forms of media.
Yeah.
Because in this, like I'm thinking books and I'm thinking music. Movies not as much, but I have some. But in this, with the technology that we have available to us, well, first of all, even before we had like digital books and things like that, I could just borrow them from the library, right? Like I just read them and then I could value them in that way. But I have this thing with wanting them to be mine and having them, and I value the idea of them. I'm struggling with this because yesterday I bought a lot of books, like a lot of books. So I bought a bunch of books, and then I was like, I fully intend on reading these, but I have hundreds of books, and like, I'm not in the place where I'm like I haven't read half the books. I probably read maybe a quarter of the books that I have, maybe less, probably, actually. I've read more books than that because I've read a lot of books in high school that I didn't own and that I don't own now. But like I like I value what they represent, and I also value what I get out of them. Like so it's not just this thing of like, look at my library, but it's a little bit of that too.
Yeah.
So I think that that's my extravagance that I don't need to have. Same thing with like music. It would be cheaper for me to buy all my albums digitally rather than buying a CD and ripping it, or like buying vinyl and then like having to go through the rigmarole of getting that onto in a digital format if it doesn't come with the download. So those things, because like I could own all my books digitally if I wanted to. I could borrow them from the library, I could get something out of them, and then I could return them. So I think that's my biggest extravagance is, at least the way I'm interpreting that question of like how I spend stuff. Yeah, that would be it. My physical forms of media that I own and consume.
Mine would be our 2 art spaces, my art, spending money on art. So definitely art is my biggest extravagance, and I guess not just even the art, but the space. So I'm not doing art in a little spot in my basement. We have 2 spaces, one in which we create sort of physical painting, oils and inks and that kind of thing. And now we have a spot where we can do this, where we can read, where we can write, where we can video edit.
Research.
And this is definitely an extravagance for me. It's not really something I can afford to do, and I'm still doing it.
Yeah. But so I guess that's the thing. I never would have thought of that because I feel like we utilize the space so much and get so much out of it that if we didn't have it, like, that would be a detriment. I feel like this space especially is more of a luxury because it's new, but the more we use it, the more it'll be less of a luxury and more of like, yeah, of course, how did we ever do it without this space?
Yeah.
But I mean, without a space in general, you know, it'd be tough. Like, be like, how do I work on my paintings in my own home? Like, how do I...
I mean, definitely it's like something that's kind of feels necessary now. It's something that it does help my mental health.
Yeah.
So there's certain things like that are not only just frivolous, but are contributing to my health, but still an extravagance.
Yeah.
It's still, we could meet in the library and work at table. You know, I mean, it still is an extravagance, but I think it's a very necessary one. So I don't find it frivolous, but it is an extravagance to me.
Yeah, no, I was just curious about that because I never would have thought that for myself.
Yeah. What is your current state of mind?
My current state of mind. Right now, I'm having fun. Like, I'm having a good time. That's kind of where I'm at. I feel like a little light and enjoying friendship, and that's kind of where I'm just. Yeah, I feel like pretty light and loose right now, and like, I think my state of mind also is just more positive because I'm looking forward. When I'm looking forward to something positive, I'm like, I'm looking forward to the next question. I'm looking forward to just like where this goes. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
I'm pretty good. I woke up very anxious, and so it's still sort of in the bottom of my stomach. Yeah. But this is, you know, distracting me and stuff like that. But that is sort of just below the surface right now. Yeah. But that's a good right now too. What do you consider the most overrated virtue? Not yours, just the most overrated virtue.
Politeness.
Okay. I would say purity.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. On what occasion do you lie?
On what occasion do I lie?
Yeah.
Like there's just one? Proust, you're killing me. I knew he was a writer. I didn't know he was a comedian too. on what occasions do I lie? I have to make that plural. I mean, like, well, maybe it's just, okay, if I lie when it's beneficial to me and I don't foresee the consequences being more negative than I guess the guilt of the lie or what have you. I guess that would be, yeah.
I would say not to hurt someone's feelings.
You're
Probably.
so sweet. That's that politeness.
Yeah.
Politeness.
What do you most dislike about your appearance?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing for me, is how my weight is distributed, and my weight in general. But yeah. Yep.
I'm liking, I don't know, probably my stomach too. But I'm liking gaining a bit of weight. I was just thinking about this morning. I'm liking the weight coming on, but I'm not liking the eating that's bringing on, which is weird.
Yeah.
But I do like that my body's filling out a bit more. But I probably, no, I know. I just like my neck. It's like my biggest thing. I don't know how I didn't remember that.
Yeah.
It's like the biggest thing that bothers me.
Well, I'm sure that's what's going to happen, though. We'll go back and look at this later and be like, I should have thought about this other thing, but...
No, it's definitely my neck.
Yeah.
And that's just the last couple of years, it just all of a sudden seemed to. Okay. Which living person do you most despise?
Wow.
You only get one.
Wow. Oh, crap. Living? Jeez. I feel like if I use somebody in my personal life, I think it's easier to despise the idea of, let's say, Trump. That's the person that came to mind that was like a big thing. But I don't know him personally, but I mean, obviously I know enough of like what he's doing and how he operates that I'm not a fan. But if I think about, like, I feel like there's a detachment from him because he's not affecting my day-to-day life as much as other people in my day-to-day life have, but I feel like I can't say that.
It doesn't say day-to-day life.
No, I know, but I'm
just
just trying
says
to...
what-
But I'm just saying, like, I don't have an emotional connection with Trump. It's his ideas and what he does and whatever, and it's changing the landscape of Canada too and the culture, and those are problems that may affect me because of being a person of color and stuff like that, and whatever else, or just not being an idiot. So that's the first thing, that if it's like a broader whatever, but like I said, I don't have, he hasn't come up to me and like kicked my dog. You know what I mean? Whereas other people in my life, I feel like are crappy people that have negatively impacted me.
And you despise them.
That's a heavy word.
Despise. It is, it's a really heavy word.
Oh. Who do I say?
Well, and how do you just pick one person is what I'm thinking.
I'm trying to think of like how would I define that too, as like someone I could just do without. Like there's people that have negatively impacted me so much, and I'm like, I just wish that they're a crappy person, but they haven't done anything directly to me. Oh man. I think I'm just gonna have to go with my stepdad. Not my current one. Norman's a sweetheart. But we'll call him Harvey the Wonder Hamster. That's just yeah. I mean, there's people that have way more affected me negatively more recently, definitely. But I feel like the time that like he was in my life from like age like 11ish to 18 was such like a big part of my life and like my developmental like time that could have been a really good time in my life possibly, but it was not. And I don't think it negatively impacted me long term in such a way that like I have all these problems now and whatever. But I mean, it was not a good time, and I'm sure that I did pick some things up there that yeah, that's just someone that was close enough to me that I like. I've had stress dreams of like just. He's the only person I can think of where I've had a stress dream and I was just I was just beating him mercilessly. Whereas I've had stress dreams where I've like beat people up that were strangers, but yeah, I've definitely had dreams where I was just like the only person I can think of in a dream where I was like physically harming them. So let's go with Harvey.
Okay. Well, like you, the first person pops in my mind, right, is Trump or some other dictator in some place. But I think I do have to say maybe, I know it does say living person, but I must say just those dictators in all the different countries, like Somalia and Sarajevo, and that just killed literally thousands of people.
Yeah.
So I know I'm kind of like cheating, but I don't really despise anyone that's sort of like close to me, or it's one of the great things about aging is you do kind of just lose that, or at least I have. I just don't get as angry anymore.
Yeah.
What is the quality you most like in a man?
The quality I most like in a man, femininity.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I would say kindness. Humor, though, I really like humor. What is the quality you most like in a woman?
Strength.
Okay. I'd say solidarity, like working together rather than splitting up. What word or phrase do you most overuse?
I mean, filler words like words that I wish I could just be quiet and not
Yeah.
have to say something in order to prompt the next thing, and just pause with silence.
I think I tend to say I'm sorry too much.
Yep, I agree.
Okay, what or who is the greatest love of your life?
Oh snap!
What or who?
What? Oh, well, if I can use what, I'd probably rather use what than who. The greatest love of my life? Use myself? No, I think it's cheesy to say art,
I don't think so.
but I have such a relationship with it, and it reminds me something that I sent to you when I watched what was the name of the movie, the art movie with
Chainsaw, Buzzsaw.
Velvet Buzzsaw. Yeah, there was a moment where, like, I don't know what her title was, a curator. I don't think she was, or an agent or something she was trying to be. And she said, like, I can't have a relationship with you because you're already like married to art or something like that. And I was like, I'm not saying that. Like, I identified a little bit with just like having a relationship with art and being like that's a priority for me to have that relationship, because I get so much back from it, and it's also like I get back what I put in.
Yeah.
So it's something that Donald Glover said once too, I think, was love of self is the only love that's reciprocal. Which I like the idea of that, or maybe it's not verbatim.
I would say I hate the idea of it.
Really?
It might be true, but I hate the idea of it.
Well, because you'd like to have it be reciprocal with someone else, or equally reciprocal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you love someone, you want it to be.
Of course, you want it to be, but...
Yeah. I would say probably Paul. For sure. Yeah. Since I was 18.
Wow.
When and where were you the happiest?
When and where?
That's a tough one.
The happiest ever. Again, I'm trying to go with immediate thoughts. I'm going to say Vancouver last year for like the 5 days I was there. That's like my most recent like happy memory that I can think of. That was like I was just so, I felt just like high all the time. Like my mood was just boosted. There's probably a lot of reasons. It's summer,
Well, you're on
sun,
holiday,
friendship, holiday. Yeah, and I've never really had like a holiday where but I mean, I wasn't even creating art other than taking photos. So it was just like the energy of the place, being out and about, experiencing a whole bunch of different stuff, hanging out with Alex, or being with a friend. And the times that I was alone, I was like super happy too, just exploring the city, taking photos, being really inspired and energized. I felt like there's moments when I'm on a bike ride and I feel that, but this was for days. Like, it was so consistent. Like, there wasn't much of a time that I was like, there were a couple down spots, but I mean, that's gonna happen, but they weren't long, and like, that's what I can think of at this moment.
Yeah, probably my like happiest time was when I first moved into the house we live now. I was creating a ton of art. I was involved in activism. I was doing my garden, which was that, and no, that probably was my happiest time. I feel like I was the most prolific and always thinking about theory, and so it was happy for a lot of different aspects of me.
Yeah.
Which talent would you most like to have?
What's a talent?
To
I was
sing,
like,
to dance,
is discipline a talent? Like, I like that.
Is what a talent?
Discipline?
No, but I mean, I guess it could be, but
I would love to. When you said instrument too, like, so I would love to be able to play instruments plural, because then I could just be my own band and just like put out. Well, I mean, I could just write and record everything myself. And I wouldn't have to rely on anybody, and I could still create music. If I was a multi-instrumentalist, that would be so useful to me though, because I don't have anyone here that I jammed with some people, it didn't work out, and like,
yeah.
you know, I would rather in friendship have other people and like then you get their input and stuff. But I mean, like, as just an artistic, creative thing without the social aspect of it, if I could just create the songs I want to create, like, that would be amazing. If I had to narrow it down and I could just pick one instrument, I would just love to be able to play the piano. It's the most versatile instrument, I think, because it works well in like every genre by itself, solo. It works well in metal and in hip hop and like obviously classical stuff. You can just put it anywhere in a certain way. I just think it's so versatile and beautiful by itself. But if I were to go to really, like, I just wish I had the talent of being a multi-instrumentalist, because I can somewhat do vocals. I don't do cleans or I would trade the, like, I would like to sing well, and I cannot at all, and I probably never will. But I would definitely trade that ability if I was like, oh, I can just scream at where I'm at right now, but I could play all the instruments. I would do that.
I would sing.
Yeah.
I want to sing. Yeah.
Why'd you laugh at me so much?
Because so many of your answers go, well, can I just pick me? Or like, if I could just do me. If I had it, and so that I could have like my own band, I could be like.
I'm just thinking, there's a couple of people that I know that like they recorded and wrote all this stuff
Oh,
and
totally.
did the vocals.
No,
and
I get it. Like,
yeah.
it makes sense. It's just funny because some of your answers would do that. Can it just be me? Can't I?
Yeah.
If you were to change one thing about yourself, what would it be?
See, now I feel like we're not open. Obviously, I'd want to change the thing that I deplore most in myself. Wouldn't that be the obvious answer?
No, see that it's, and as you take the questionnaire, different things come along, and that's part of it, right?
Yeah,
like,
I guess.
that's part of it, how it goes, and probably part of where you say, "Damn, I would have picked that answer."
Yeah.
But
So the one thing that I could change about myself?
yeah.
Well, I guess that doesn't have to be okay, because that could be a physical thing. That could be.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it would be the discipline thing, because the discipline thing would reach every area. Because if I was more disciplined in my eating habits, my workout routine, the time I went to bed, all those things were late. Like, and then also more disciplined in maybe like mental exercise that would help me be more patient with people, or more disciplined in trying to work on myself. So I would say, I wish that I could change my discipline. And I can, so I should just do it.
Well, I guess I wish I was an extrovert, so that I would get energy from being around people rather than it draining me. So even though there's other physical ailments or something that kind of take that away, but I like people that can go out and they can be around people and they can, I don't know, do things. Like, I admire extroverts.
Yeah. But
I definitely couldn't live that way. What do you consider your greatest achievement?
Inspiring students to continue self-development.
Yeah, that's a really nice one. Well, there's some things that I've done along my life that are pretty big achievements, but at this moment I would say living this long.
Yeah.
If you were to die and come back as a person or thing, what would it be? Wow.
So, I guess Jordan? I would come back as Jordan? I don't know. That's so, I mean, that just relates to that earlier answer, right? I wouldn't want to come back as a thing. That's weird. You don't have really control of how you, like, a thing, like an object, right?
There's your control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would come, well, yeah. See, now I'm thinking though, like, if I come back as that person, am I...
Will that person be the person?
Exactly. Or is my consciousness just in their body? Or, like, what does that mean? Because then I would be David Cho.
Well, there you go.
Because then not because of his body, but I mean, like, if I had his resources and everything, like, at what point am I him? Mm-hmm. From birth? Am I reincarnated as, like, okay, or is it like David Cho in his 20s or 30s? Or...
yeah, I think you just have to, you know, who would you want to come back as? So I think that just means not that, I think you're coming back as them, so you're not bringing your physical traits, you're coming back as them and you're living their life. So I think David Cho for you want to live his life.
But I don't want to live his life as him, I want to live his life as me.
Well, yeah, you will be, I guess. This isn't really going to happen, just so you know.
If we wish hard enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's somewhat, depending on the mechanics of it, which, I mean, we can't really, whatever. Jordan / David Cho, yeah.
Oh, God.
You can't say your mom.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't want to come back as my mom because I don't have her strength. And she's gone through a lot of shit, so I wouldn't want to come back as her, no. There's not really like a living person that, I think I'm going to say my cat, Daisy.
Oh. If you know Daisy, then that makes more sense. But.
Where would you like to live? Where would you most like to live?
I'm really enjoying being here right now, and the fact that that's under threat, and I feel like I might have to move soon is like making me feel like here. But in reality, I guess it would be, where would I most like to live? So it's just a geographic location. I'm not thinking that my circumstances are all different and stuff.
No.
Man, that's tough. I really want to.
It's a wish, so you can live anywhere.
I know, but I don't know the landscape of very many places enough that make me feel like Spain. Like, I don't know, maybe I'll hate Spain. Maybe I'll like.
Well, it's just.
It's gonna be either here or Vancouver. And I feel like I can't use here because I am here right now, but I want to continue being here and figure this out. But Vancouver would be super fantastic. So I guess that's gonna be my answer.
I would like to live in the south of France, by the ocean, with a lavender field close.
Okay.
and a winery.
Yeah.
So
Deal.
I most like to live in sunshine, but somewhere that also has a history, and Europe, like to be able to travel around to other places. It's so close.
Yeah, the access.
I could see lots of other places. What is your most treasured possession?
Wow. A physical possession?
I guess so.
Is that word okay? I feel like I mean, it could be more open, but it's easier to answer sometimes if it's more concrete, but.
I think that's pretty concrete.
Okay. A physical possession.
What's the first thing you're gonna grab if there's a fire in your house?
The first thing? I'd grab my phone because I feel like it's a safety thing too.
Okay, well, not that.
Yeah, I know, but I think of what's valuable. I'm like the phone, the laptop, right? Like I have like an evac checklist, and those are on there, and then like contacts.
You have an
and-
actual checklist?
Yes, I do.
Wow.
Well, because of the grass fire situation
Oh.
last year,
Yeah.
like Michelle and I made an evacuation checklist. So it was like contacts, mouth guard, cell phone, charger, laptop for me. But those aren't like treasured. Like I feel like the treasured thing would be something like more sentimental, I guess. But I can't think of any. Like all this is like practical to me in my way that I live right now. But I don't like treasure like my laptop because if it wasn't this laptop, it would be another laptop.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I place a lot of that. Like there's things that give me joy. Like having this camera gives me joy that I didn't have before because of the way that I use it. But it's not sentimental.
It's not treasured.
No, like it's not about this. Like I mean, it's this camera, but it's just a camera in general that is the same make and model or whatever. Oh, that's so tough. I'm trying to think of something that was like. I keep a lot of like little sentimental things, but if I don't like they're present. Even like sometimes I see them every day, like little cards people or letters or whatever people have written me, but I don't look at them every day. They're just in my vision, and if I wouldn't think to grab them. My most treasured possession. I can't even think of a book. It's like, man, if you could just grab one book as you were fleeing your house. I have books that I'll never be able to get again, and I know that. I've got a couple editions of poetry that are like, were published over 100 years ago. Tennyson and Coleridge. But I wouldn't even think like, oh, gotta grab those. Like, that's so tough.
What if you were dying and you wanted to make sure that
I had to pass something on.
Yeah. Trying to think of another way you can think of a treasure.
Yeah. That's also the problem with having everything digitized is that like I've taken pictures of my writing, right? If I had one book of my writing, then that would be the thing I'd want to pass on. But it's spread out.
That's what I was thinking.
And it's online.
Your art, like in whatever form that is. To me, that seems like your treasured possession. Because whenever we talk about legacy, right? Like that's so to me, the things that you do are. But that's me.
Well, that's the way you're interpreting it too. Like I'm interpreting like something that what's my treasured possession that's for me.
But I mean, it seems like that is kind of for you, but maybe not. Maybe
well, it serves a function that benefits me, but it's not something I get to keep because all that stuff I give away, or that's why it's important to me, or I value it because it's something that I not give away necessarily, but that other people can gain from, I guess, or connect with. But if I immediately thought of like the physical possession that I like need to, if I'm gonna run out of my house, what is the thing? And all I have in my mind are practical things of expensive value or...
Well, maybe that's, I mean, the Proust Questionnaire is to try and go through and to see yourself a bit better. So maybe for now, that is what it is, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. That's where you are at this point in your life. I
think the iPod, out of all the practical things, I don't use it as much now as I used to. However, it is the bridge from practical to not luxury, but like music. I mean, it's also a symbol for music, but I mean, it carries 128 gigs of music, which isn't enough, but it enriches my life to such a degree, having that much access to that much music on my person. Like, my time in Vancouver wouldn't have been as good if I didn't have my iPod. My music was relating so much. When I bike, sometimes, like, or just navigating the city or whatever. So I guess I guess I would say my iPod.
Okay. Well, mine's going to sound monetary as well, but I have my dad's sweater, which as far as I know is pretty much one of the only things that we have of his left. And 2 rings that my mom gave me. One was my auntie's and one was my grandma's.
That's not monetary, that's super sentimental. Those things have meaning.
Okay.
Well, because it's not about any
Yeah.
ring or any sweater, it's theirs.
Yeah.
Whereas again, like my iPod, like shout
Okay,
out to
so
Tanner.
does that work then?
Yeah, no, I think
Treasured
that's
possession,
yeah. No, I'm just saying like
Okay.
I think you're kind of downplaying like I feel like mine's almost lame, but no, yours are kind of yeah like
They are like they're things that I do really treasure.
yeah.
Okay. What do you regard as the lowest depth of misery? That's a
The
you
lowest.
like your iPod and that one's the lowest depth of
Yeah,
misery.
we went from
lowest depth.
oh wow. To be the cause of my own misery, I guess, would be one. If I was the reason that I caused my own worst place to be, which is like dying alone. So if I was the reason that happened, if I was such a piece of garbage that I pushed away, like maybe my love, my partner, my family, my friends, and that was the reason that I died alone, that would be the worst thing in those final moments, to be like, this is all my fault, like I'm such garbage that I did this to myself.
Yeah, mine's what I've gone through the past couple of weeks or months, so yeah, feeling definitely suicidal. So I guess the lowest depth would be forgetting. I get scared that I will get to a point where I will forget everybody, and I will forget why it's wrong to do it. So that's where I get scared to go. So I guess that would be what I would think is the lowest, because once you get there, then you have nothing. You have nothing stopping you.
Yeah.
I don't know if I said that correctly.
I got it.
Yeah, okay. These things are getting like a little
heavy?
serious. Yeah, a little heavy here. Don't. Okay, we did that. What is your favorite occupation?
My favorite occupation. Why didn't I get this comfortable before? I guess the full-time artist is the dream. If I can only choose one.
That's definitely mine.
Yeah.
What is your most marked characteristic? Oh, I'm thinking of something before.
Marked. I think I already have my answer, but I mean like something that people would say about you, or.
Yeah.
I would say passion is mine. I think that comes off, and sometimes not always in a good way, because I mean, to me that's also like the anger and stuff. But
I wish I had something like that, but I think probably when people think of me, they think of... Actually, most people when they talk about me say I'm creative. I was going to say loyal, but then when I think about it...
someone have to
Most
get to
people
know
say
you a certain
creative.
amount, I think, to get there, right?
Yeah. What do you most value in your friends?
I don't know what word to call it. The fact that they challenge me, that to me is a hallmark of a friendship. I don't use the word friend liberally. So like I've got kind of like acquaintances and like friends, and like anyone who's like a friend generally is like really like super super close, and there's not a lot of in between for me. So that to me is what kind of I mean, there's a lot of things wrapped up in that, like trust and like and loyalty and like respect and other things. But to me, like if someone is not willing to challenge you, they're not much of a friend, because I think that a person who cares about you will challenge you, and I don't mean just like mentally, I mean, you, Alex, Jordan, other Alex, Mike, like they all do things that challenge me, like just with the way they live, right? Like their example, the things we are able to talk about, like mentally challenge me. But I mean, like, hey John, you're being kind of trash right now. Why are you doing the things you're doing? That challenge to me is really important, because if someone is too afraid to do that, I feel like, well, you don't care about me enough, or you're not, or whatever, right? Like I feel like that's such an important thing, and I just find it interesting when people have friends that they're too afraid to talk to, or to challenge, or to whatever, because I'm like that, but that's what a friend is to me, is having that much care and trust to have that difficult conversation, and to still be like, we're still going to be friends, and or if not, then I guess, I don't know. But yeah, I think it's that's the thing that I value most. Was that it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I imagine that changes. Well, that wouldn't for you, I guess. Right now, I'd have to say understanding when friends give me space, because of where I am right now. Otherwise, I think I like the challenge as well. I like somebody that, when there's a conversation, it's it's challenging, right? So it's something, or it's creative. It's like, hey, let's do this. Like it's maybe action orientated rather than just sitting there and talking. Except I like that too, but I don't know. Yeah, so probably challenging as well. Right now, not. Well, that's not true. Like, I would still want you to be perfectly honest with me.
Yeah,
but it's because we are close enough that you know when I'm really delicate or something.
But and that's the thing, though, like you said, like that might change depending on where someone's at. Where it's like right now, I need more understanding than I need someone to challenge me, right? Because that might be too much for the moment.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, who are your favorite writers?
Man, that time it gives you plural, hey?
This one it does.
Wow. I mean, Stephen King is a phenomenal writer that I enjoy, and I haven't read as many of his books as I'd like to. And there's very few people where I've read multiple books of theirs. I like the idea of Marquis de Sade more than his writing, because I've read so little. But I think that the challenge and the belief in what he was doing is what I value a lot and what I respect. My favorite writers. I'm trying to think of who else I've read more than one book of that I really enjoyed, but so much of that was more in my youth, and now I feel like I'm like picking and choosing like one book by that person. Like I read a bunch of like young adult novels by Garth Nix, but they were like very science fiction, fantasy oriented, and those were good. But when I'm thinking of like really important books, like Richard Adams, but I've only read Watership Down, so it's like I felt like that was a really important book, but the other books of his, like I haven't read, so I don't know. Maybe I don't need to have read a lot, but by one author. I don't know.
I don't know. Can't we say to him that we don't want favorite writers? Hey, Proust. Don't even like yours. Actually, I haven't read any of his. So
neither have I. That's the other interesting thing,
I think
too.
That's one that I'll have to add onto this list I wrote down to see what he wrote, because I actually don't know.
Yeah.
I know this because of Vanity Fair.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I talked about this before. I'm terrible at remembering authors' names.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head is Ken Follett. I really liked his Pillars of the Earth. And there's a follow-up one that I just bought that I'm looking forward to. It was so unexpected because I'd read a Ken Follett before, and it was kind of like this sort of spy, I don't know, kind of one. Like it was like a paperback great novel for for reading, sort of like a Stuart Woods, one of those like easy reads. And then this Ken Follett was about back in the times of medieval times and sort of masonry and religion and all the things I would never think I would like to read about. So I really liked him. Lewis Carroll, because one of my favorite books is Alice in Wonderland, and mostly just for the fact I think the magicalness of being able to get smaller and bigger and all those different things. I can't remember his name. It's something like a Miguel. He's a writer and he does magic realism, and he's from South America. Oh, I wish I could remember his name. And because I really like magic realism in books, and some of the stories I have magic realism, and so I really liked. I've just read a couple of his. I wish I could remember his name. So yeah, I would say instead of having favorite writers, I probably just have books that I like and I choose here and there. I'm not someone who goes through, oh, this writer's great, and then I'm going to read everything that writer did. I don't think I have done that. So I really liked what's his name, Adams, that wrote Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah.
I like the humor in that and the little bit of, so I'm pretty all over the place.
I think that, it's easier when you think of favorite books.
Yeah.
Like Stephen King as a writer is a phenomenal writer. There's only one book I've read where I was like, it wasn't that great. He was trying something different. But other than him, like I've read, George Orwell's up there too, right?
Yeah.
But there's people that I would like to be like, hey, I'm going to read these. But then again, like I said, with Richard Adams, I didn't have any desire to read any of his other books. So I read Watership Down, and I was like, I don't need to read the other ones really.
Yeah.
But I think of more of like, this is a classic book. Like this is Brave New World,
my favorite, like,
this or that, or like
classic that I have reread a couple times is the one you don't like at all. Mockingbird. What is it?
To Kill a Mockingbird.
To Kill a Mockingbird. And that one, I just really liked the character in it, I guess. And so I read it when I was younger, and then I reread it just a few years ago, and then I went through, I should have a kid just so I can name Atticus. But at 50 it wasn't like a really great idea, so I think I'll get a cat I can name Atticus.
Yeah, there you go.
And Scout, I love the name Scout. Anyways.
And I'll get a dog I can name Archimedes.
Okay. Who is your hero of fiction?
Hero of fiction?
Yeah.
Almost wish I reviewed my answers from last time. Because I struggled with this one a lot, and I don't remember who I landed on. Oh! Now I do. Bill. From It. He's my hero of fiction. Billy Boy. I can't remember his last name. Yeah.
And mine's Kira from The Piano Man's Daughter, which is actually a song, not a book.
Oh, snap. Well,
Can I do that?
Of course.
What did it say?
It says fiction.
Fiction, yeah. So.
Man, and I should have opened it up to movies more last time. My favorite hero of fiction, because
You can't do a redo now.
Oh. Well, Ryan Gosling's character in Drive is like pretty. I like that was my struggle, was anti-heroes. I was like, I'm thinking of all these anti-heroes.
Well, who knows, I might have an anti-hero.
Yeah. Okay, anyway, I'll stick with
who
that.
are your heroes in real life?
That's the next one? What? Okay. I can't complain about overlap. I'll try not to.
Oh, gee.
Hero. Who's a hero? See, I feel like David Show's an anti-hero. So, Sage Francis is pretty tight. He's a good example and model for being an amazing independent artist and doing what he wants to do and actually doing it. Trying to think of something a little more like Che Guevara or something. I feel like it has to be like more, you know,
That's where I'm going.
like revolutionary, but I can't think of anyone that really, at this moment, that really opened up, like, or like Harvey Milk, or like something like that, but I can't think of anything that relates to me so much that, I mean, like, there's things that people have done that have greatly affected my life, I'm sure, with like the freedoms I have and things, but I can't think of any right now. I feel really lame. I'm just gonna leave it at Sage Francis.
I'm gonna probably say at this moment that it would be our Premier Notley or Shannon Phillips, when I know. I think what they've done and accomplished, and they've put up with death threats and different things just because of being women and ruling, and yeah, I think what they've done makes them heroes in my life. They're not perfect, and they say they're not perfect, and I like those things in people when they're working hard, but they're willing to say, yeah, we kind of fucked up, but they've done lots of great things. So at this very moment.
Deal.
What are your favorite names?
Favorite names? Archimedes. I don't know what else I've got right now that I can pull out of my back pocket. I like my middle name a lot. I like Alejandro a lot. I like that name.
Yeah, it rolls off nice on the tongue.
Yeah, it's a good name. But it's funny because the same thing, like Alex or Alexander or Alexandra, anything with the name Alex, but Alejandro is just the Spanish equivalent of Alexander. But I really, like, that's a dope name. I think it's like a sick name to have, as Alex.
Really?
Yeah, I've always, like, it's just any name with an X in it.
I was almost named that because my mother's mother is Alexandrina, so that was going to be my name.
Wow. Alexandrina? I've never heard that one before.
No.
That's next level stuff.
No, that was her name. I imagine I would have just been called Alex. All of my mom's aunties, it was the same way. So one was called Alexandrina and then called Alex. The other one was called Georgia and called George. Another was called, they all end up with like boys' names. Like there's.
I see.
Anyways, I thought it was kind of cool, actually.
Yeah.
But,
I used to have another one that I was thinking of other than Archimedes, but
yeah.
I'll stick with those because I can't think right now.
Well, of course, I just said I liked Atticus.
Yeah.
That's just one of my favorite names. I just even like the way it sounds, like the way my tongue moves in my mouth saying Atticus. Otherwise, I don't know. I don't really have favorite names. I have people who, yeah.
Well, I just mean,
but
like,
there's
as a
sometimes
name,
when I hear, like, I have my words or things or something that feels good in my mouth too.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I'm not going to have kids, so I haven't really thought that much about my favorite names, but I do like the name Atticus, so I'll go with that.
Sure.
Not very interesting. What is it that you most dislike?
In the world?
That was the
Like,
question.
that's just it? What?
Yep.
What is the thing that I most...
What is it that you most dislike? So it doesn't say thing.
I was going to say bigotry was the first thing that came to my mind. That's kind of broad.
Yeah, I think it's allowed to be that. Mine's mean-spiritedness, so yeah.
Okay.
What is your greatest regret?
Oh, jeez Louise. Where do you go with that?
Oh, where do you?
Well, if it's just one, then there's some things, I guess that helps me out, because there's things I've done repeatedly that I regret. But that's more of like a habit or something, right? Like, how was it worded again?
What is your greatest regret? So it does give it's basically a singular.
Oh. I was thinking of getting caught for graffiti the last time, but that wasn't necessarily in my control. Well, no, like the actions that led up to it were, but I mean, like getting caught in itself, like I wasn't caught red-handed, so like it was like there might have been things I could have done, like lawyer up, you know what I mean? Like, I could have done things differently to maybe that would have helped me, because that has affected my life the past like 12 years or 11 years so much when it comes to job opportunities and things, like more than I probably know because they won't tell me. But I mean, the amount of money that now I've got to put into applying for a record suspension and things like that, that might have been something I could have done at that point.
Well, instead of saying getting caught, you could
going
have
up
said
that
doing
night.
it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I'm thinking of one singular event rather than like, I wish I never did graffiti. I don't believe that, like, because then I wouldn't be an art teacher probably. I wouldn't be interested in art or be sitting here. But I think like it was just going out that night, maybe. But who knows? I would have got caught eventually some other time, maybe. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My greatest regret is hurting Paul really badly. Not physically. Because I don't like mean spirit. Not that I did it mean spiritedly, but that's my greatest regret.
I thought of another one that was actually right before you said that was way more like.
Do you want to say it?
A deeper thing, I think. But I don't know how much I regret it either, because like. I had like what was it, like April 19th, 2006? 19th or 29th, I don't remember. One of those two, I just remember writing it in 9. That I had like a very large relapse in self-harm, and was unconscious, and my mother found me, and had to call an ambulance and stuff, so that was pretty heavy. Like, I don't know, I think, it's funny because like I said, I thought of that right before you said the Paul thing, but like part of that regret is how much it impacted my mother, and it didn't come to my mind right away because like everything ended up okay for me. Like I feel like it didn't have such a scarring effect or damaging effect.
Ironically, it was scarring.
Yeah. I don't know if I changed that or not, but it's pretty on par. If not, it's very different. So than the other answer, but yeah, that was.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
How would you like to die?
I'd probably projecting. I am not yet at peace with the concept of my death, where some people are like, oh, I'm accepting of the fact that that's going to happen and whatever. I definitely know that I would want to be with whoever I love the most in that moment, or maybe multiple people that I love. But I also don't think I'd like right now, I wouldn't want to be aware of the fact I was dying, because with that I immediately would feel anxiety where I'm at right now. So like some people, maybe if they're accepting of death, that could still be a calm and peaceful place. I would like to be with people I love in a calm.
Right. How would you like to die? I think you answered that, didn't you?
Yeah.
Did I answer it?
What was the next?
I don't think I did. I want to die painlessly.
Oh wait, you're right. So I thought I answered it in full before the camera died.
You did. You said you want to be with family.
Peace, calm, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
That's it for you, just painlessly? Alright. Okay. You could be in a dungeon alone, as long as there's no pain, then you're fine.
Well, no, because there would be pain in that for me.
Oh, like emotional pain.
Yeah, either
Okay.
way. Like, yes, I want, and maybe I want to die, yeah, I'll see it that way, painlessly.
Sure.
What is your motto? God, who has a motto?
Well, some people have like a thing that's like their mantra that they just live by, and it's like a good, like, motto. What is your favorite motto? What was it?
No, what is your motto?
What is my motto?
What is your motto? always look on the bright side of life.
See, I feel like no matter what, it's going to be something fake because I've never been like, this is my motto. I've thought about how I define art, right? Like, but
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe motto can be, like, it doesn't have to be like a formal sentence. Maybe motto can be, these are things that guide my life.
yeah,
So it's not like, look on the bright side of life, but it could be like, I try, living my life more positively, blah, 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 blah.
taking advantage of opportunities for continual growth.
Ooh. Put that in your pocket and use it for when you're applying for grants. I would say my motto is to realize that selfishness is a good thing. Like being selfish and coming to the studio and taking my own time
Yep.
is a good thing for all round. I don't know if that's a motto.
Sure it is. I got too much of that one, so.
Okay.
Next.
That is it.
That was the last one? Oh, shoot.
I know, that's when you told me, when you're like, oh, don't tell me how many are left, and I was like, okay, but like, there's not a lot.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
I would like to go
You
back.
want to revisit some? Sure.
Yeah,
Those are the 35 questions. Marcel Proust's
yeah.
questionnaire. Okay, what are we going back to here?
Let's see. Did we do a which historical figure do you most identify with? What was that?
We didn't have that question.
No? Did I miss it?
We never. There was no historical figure one.
No?
did it? No.
Okay. Well, there we go.
Now we got to go through all of them
Back
again to see
question
if you.
29.
We missed 29.
Which historical figure do you most identify with?
I don't know enough historical figures. The thing, most of my knowledge of the Marquis de Sade comes from a movie that was a biopic. So, like, I've got biographies that I should read of him. There were things I identified with there that are a model for me as an artist or a person that I really enjoyed, which was like, in times of adversity, the artist flourishes, like things like that. But I mean, I don't know if I'm thinking about historical figure. Like, I like that. I don't know how true to that, he was. I hope so, but I can't think of like a historical figure that I know enough about. I mean, I don't know enough about him.
Yeah, really me neither. I'm trying to think.
Maybe that's why you skipped it.
Yeah, don't want that one. Well, I don't know if I can identify with them.
Identify in being flawed, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess probably the only sort of historical figures are maybe the famous five here in Alberta who were looking to get the vote for women.
Mm.
That's probably who I can identify because historically that's probably what I would have championed for, whereas now it's sort of body positivity and ageism. But so I guess I'll say that.
Okay. I was going to say, if I'm going to stick with the Marquis de Sade thing, and my knowledge is very little, but I think obsessive nature too, like I said, it's not necessarily a positive thing, but that's something that I think that we share to a degree.
That's it.
Okay.
Alejandro?
Okay, Atticus. Captain Atticus.
Captain Atticus.
That was fun though. I liked that. It was good.